classes anyway in person. So if it's limiting you to so many people,
Right.
you have to be 6 feet apart or whatever, I think it'll be fine.
Right. Exactly. I
Hey,
agree.
Michael,
Good morning.
Darlene,
Hi, Nancy.
how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
That's wonderful, thank you.
Good. Hi.
Hi, Shara.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I just pushed one button and I was on.
Yoo-hoo.
Yoo-hoo.
Let me check something.
Move that a little. Isn't it beautiful out today?
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
Really nice. It was.
gorgeous.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can't get this up on my computer. I'll try again another day. I don't know. Because I've got it on my phone, but I can't work off my phone. So
Joanne,
I'll do it another day.
Joanne, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just your picture's not up, that's all. But that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's only on my phone. I can't get it on my computer because it was through a text and I can't find it on the meeting on my computer. So don't hold anything up. I'll do it another day.
Hold on a second. Don't go. I will. Don't go.
Joanne, just listen to it on your phone and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I will email it to you.
It's asking me for the meeting password on my computer because my phone wouldn't give me the information because it said it had to do an update first. And, then it went off to do that. And so now it's up on my phone, but I can't get the information on my computer.
All right. I'm sending it all to you, so you'll get it in a second. All right, it's on its way. And we're back. All right, you'll have it. You should be able to get it up on your computer in a minute or two once
Okay.
you open up the email. So you'll have to log out from your phone and then open back up. In the meantime, we'll just start.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All righty, we're here. So, do you have a breeze coming in your house? Are you guys not
Yes,
humid?
Yes.
Okay,
lovely.
good. So I can kick your butt today?
Like any other day.
Oh, that's pretty funny. There was not one assent there. Okay.
Sure.
All right, so close your eyes. Feel yourself, that part of you that is connected to the floor. So your sits bones, your glutes, your feet, part of your legs, and then start to work upwards, lengthening your body. So lengthen through the side torso. When you get up to the thoracic spine, lift your chest. You move up to the neck, feel your neck. Is it in alignment with the rest of your spine? So bring your head on your shoulders And then once there, move your ears back just a little bit, tucking the chin. Reaching through the crown. And now observe your breath. Now begin to elongate your breath on both the inhale and the exhale. And then lower your chin, but keep your chest, your thoracic spine open. And then start to move the head and neck in a half circle. Take it right into a full circle. Reverse direction. And then come back to center. And take your hands out to the sides on your mat. And take your left arm, reach it up and over. And start to slowly work the side stretch. So move what you need to move in order to gently open up here. Come on back up, reset, and then go to the other side. Now come on back up again, because eventually you would have to come up. Go to the first side again. And then take that top hand, place it behind your head. Move that elbow back, the left elbow. Bring your ears back, chest lifting. If you want, you can look upward. And deepen your stretch along the left side. Take it up. Come back to center. I think we've had enough of that. All right, do it again. Second side, hand behind the head. Move that elbow back, bring the ears back. Sternum lifts. Try to keep your right glute down. And come on back up to center. Roll your shoulders. Wrap your chin once again. Do a few half circles. And do you all have yoga blocks? Sure, no? Do you have a yoga book?
I have lots of books.
You don't need a yoga book. So actually, on my screen, Nancy, you're right below Shara, so just hand one of those blocks up to her.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right,
I'll watch it and have it back to you.
technology is great, and at the end of this class, I'm going to fax pizza to each one of you. So Shara, grab some thick books if you have any, or a few books. If you're going to use that as your block. And we're going to lay down on our backs and go into a bridge pose, a supported bridge pose with this underneath the sacrum. You can place it up where it's comfortable, and you can put it on either the first level or the second level. And if you're open up already, you can put it up to the highest level. But to start, since it's early in the practice, the lowest or medium level height would be appropriate. And figure out where you need to put it so it's comfortable. Now, take one leg and lift it up. And then take the other leg and lift it up. So it's like legs up the wall.
It actually feels pretty good, surprisingly.
Yeah, this usually does. Now, take one leg and reach it away from you, parallel to the floor. Touch your heel to the floor if that's doable. Keep straight legs. Bring the leg back up and the other leg. You're just moving slowly here. You don't have to go fast. Keep your legs straight if you can. Lowering one then the other. And 3 or 4 on each side. And then legs straight up. Then set your feet down. Lift your hips, take the block or the books out from underneath. Lower your hips onto the mat, hug your knees in, wrap your arms around. And give your lower back a little massage here. Now, roll up to a seated pose. And take your right leg out to the right. Left heel right into the groin. And take your hands back behind you. So all you're going to do is just kind of roll your hips forward. And you may feel it in the inner leg there, upper inner leg. Just roll forward, let it roll back. If you're not feeling this, bring this knee out a little bit more or this leg out a little bit more. And if you're not feeling it still, then you will as we go along, as we move on. Is anyone not feeling this? Darlene, are you?
Yeah, I feel it.
Is Mike at work?
He's working in the den here.
Oh, he is, okay. He hasn't started back yet.
He usually goes in about once a week to take care of some stuff, but that's about it.
Pick up his physical paycheck.
There's no such thing anymore, is there?
No. All right, so start to move to your right. Now lift your sternum at the same time. You can take your left arm and reach it up, or you can reach it over. Yeah, at the minimum, see if you can bring it straight up. If you can see yourself in the your screen, see if you can bring the arm straight up. And if it's going forward, bring it back. So you got to take the entire left side of your ribs and your left shoulder and move it back.
And we're supposed to breathe at the same time?
No, hold that breath.
We're supposed to smile at the same time.
Smile and breathe. All right, because you're in a pageant right now. All right, come on back up. So what do you think makes it difficult to breathe?
Because you're holding your breath.
Well, it's not supposed to be holding your breath. All right, so you're gonna do this again. Keep this left hand down on your leg. Just lean over. Tell me how your breathing is. It should be much, much easier.
It is.
All right, come back up. Whenever you bring your arms up above 89 degrees, so basically here's 90 degrees, right? Warrior two or whatever pose, triangle to start before we tip. Whenever we bring above 89 degrees, this is pulling on the diaphragm. As soon as I do this, from 89 degrees and up, okay? And it makes it harder to breathe. So it's actually an exercise. It actually strengthens the diaphragm muscle when you do something like this, or this, or this, right? So we go like this, we inhale, we exhale. We're actually working out our diaphragm. And none of us ever think of that. Switch legs. But it's two.
Very, very true.
Weddy. So take your hands back behind you and just move your pelvis forward and back again. And to add to that, you keep your sternum lifted. So move your pelvis forward and back and collapse, round. Just even a little bit. You're not going to feel the stretch here as much, right? I'm assuming you can all see my screen, right? But if you do this, even when just doing that moves the pelvis forward, you feel that stretch. The upper body positioning is critical for lower body stretching. So start to move to your left. And as you're ready, you can take that right arm and reach it, bring it at least straight up. Move the right ribs back, the right shoulder back. So that's the one that's open, closest to the ceiling. Now take that top arm, bring it onto your thigh. Continue to breathe. And then come on back up. Am I breaking up at all?
Nope.
Okay. Now cross your legs the other way. Other foot in front. And start to come forward. So when you're coming forward, I only want you to come maybe this far forward if you tend to round right away. You know, and you'll start to look downward. But just from vertical, come forward and come as far forward as you can without rounding. You can, if you're tight, your hands can be back behind you, kind of pushing yourself forward. You have no risk of falling forward. If you're more flexible, like Darlene, you can use your hands as brakes, but then you isometrically pull your hands. As a matter of fact, everybody do this, because even if you're tight, this helps. Hands are forward of you. They don't have to be far away. If you're more flexible, they'll be farther away. If you're tighter, they're closer. But no matter where your hands are, grip the mat. So you're kind of doing this. Grip the mat and isometrically pull your hands towards your legs so that your chest opens up and actually kind of goes upwards. You're actually back bending into a forward bend. And then this gives you a stretch. You might feel this on your lateral hips, your outer hips. Come on back up. So we're going to do Shavasana for the next 40 minutes. You would find that harder than doing movement.
I don't know.
Yeah. So Darlene, you did at least a 45-minute Shavasana in teacher training, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It would be easier for me to do now than it was then.
Yeah. Right. Is that because of the last 3 months? Or
No, I think just developing the time and being able to calm down and let myself go
okay.
into Shavasana.
Without falling,
What's that?
without falling asleep.
Yeah, that's the key. And they had a journal about it. They had to write about it. It's part of their homework.
Wow.
So I don't know if I had to do 45 or 60. I thought I had to do 60 minutes. I'm not sure.
Could be. I don't remember.
Okay, come into butterfly, Baddha Konasana, also known as bound angle. Either clasp your hands around your toes or grab your ankles. And then pull yourself taller. So when you pull yourself forward, it's the lower back that's coming forward. The rest of you gets taller as a result. Now start moving your knees so they're actually going in opposite directions. Just to start. One's going up while the other one's going down. And then you can start to bring them both down at the same time. So do you all know what the butterfly effect is?
No.
Let me put it in proper context. The butterfly effect in quantum physics.
Really no.
The butterfly effect in quantum mechanics is a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil will cause a tsunami in the Philippines. And the reason that is known as the butterfly effect is because they use that example, but they also know that what you do or think here has an effect there. So they know this in quantum reality, okay? They're now starting to prove this in physical reality. So scientists have been studying for quite a number of years that your thoughts influence the weather patterns. So if you've been, yeah, there you go. If you have wondered about our weather over the past few years and you say, wow, it's crazy. All we have to do is look inside. But it's collective. It's everybody. And I've always believed our thoughts influence the weather. And in 1999, I had a group of people who proved it, me and some others. But they've done this proof worldwide. And if you think about the Indians, like Southwest Arizona Indians, who do rain dances, and then it rains, they've known this, it's part of their culture, that they influence the weather. There's a lot of studies now in neuroscience regarding this. It's quite fascinating. It's quite interesting reading. So you're still working your butterfly, still pressing those knees down. If you want to work this even more, take your hands back behind you and push in and slide, roll your pelvis forward. You're rolling forward on your sits bones. Your sternum's lifting up. Your knees will almost want to go downwards. And then release, bring your hands forward, bring your knees together, and start to windshield wiper your knees. Shara, how is Lori?
She's a little overwhelmed, but doing okay.
Yeah. All right, shake it out. And then bring your right foot directly in to your right hip. So the foot's on the floor. Take your left hand to the left of your hip on the mat. And then this is the tough part. When you're going to try to come forward, again, without rounding. And what you're doing here is you're stretching the bottom of your left leg and you're stretching the lower back more on the right-hand side. If you're able to come forward enough, you can take your upper arm to your shin. You may not be able to come that far forward, but just come forward enough so that you feel a stretch underneath the left leg and you feel a stretch in the lower back because you've taken your right leg out of the play. You're trying to maintain that openness in your sternum so you're not collapsing. If anything, you're trying to take the top of your head to your instep of your left foot, not your forehead to your knee. So there's no rounding here. And then this knee wants to fall out to the right. Keep it in next to your shoulder, next to your ribs. Now, if you want to go into the full expression of this pose, you take this right arm, you inner spiral, you wrap this arm behind your back. You take this other hand behind your back and you clasp your hands. Now, I couldn't do this for the first year because I had no clue what the heck they were doing. And just everybody went into it. And how do you do that? Then I finally figured it out. You got to be able to lean forward. Now come on up. Now this pose is very, very similar, but totally different than what we're going to do next. So really, it's not similar at all. So you're going to take your knee out. And this is now Janu Shirshasana. We're just going to come into a forward bend. And then come on back up. Darlene, you're gonna have to start being more affectionate with that dog. Switch legs. Bring your left foot right into your left hip. Take your right hand to the outside on the mat. Take your left arm to the inside. And then, so I'm going to show you something else on this side. When you take your right hand to the outside of the hip, it's easier if you're tighter to take the hand back. Because when you start to go forward, you can actually now push a little more with this arm, okay? So if you're tight, take it back behind the hip a little bit. Start to come forward. Again, if you have the flexibility, you can lean forward and then take the left arm to the front of the shin. And then just reach forward, but lift up through the chest. And if you want to clasp hands behind your back, you're welcome to. All right, come on up. Let that knee just fall to the right. The bottom of the foot comes to the inner thigh and come into a forward bend. Keep your torso in extension. And then lift up. All right, how you doing? Take your bottoms of your feet down. Knees bent. Hands back behind you. We're going to do reverse table. And then, so bend your elbows to start. Bring the shoulders back. Lift the sternum. Keep lifting the sternum till the hips just lift right up. Come into your reverse table. Looking straight up or back behind you, as long as your neck is okay. Lower down, touch your glutes, lift back up. Exhaling, lower down. Inhaling, lift back up. We're going to do 2 more. Lower down, take it back up. And then this last one, lower down, lift up, and stay up there. And then lower down. And replace your wrists and hands with another set. And pull one hand. And then the other. Darlene, you're frozen on my screen.
Mine.
Now you are.
I'm not doing anything.
You were
Now
like this on my screen for a while.
Whew.
You go deep in the meditation. spontaneously.
Still here.
All right, I'm trying to keep you guys on the floor. So this is what we're gonna do now. Hands back or underneath your knees, lean back, shins parallel to the floor. Looks like you have your feet on the wall, Darlene.
Nope.
That's funny.
He's cheating.
Wow, that looks really good. Okay, so take your hands and release them from underneath your knees and come into a half boat. Into a full boat. Half boat again. Full boat. Half boat. Full boat. Take your arms wide. Take them overhead. Lift up through the sternum. Bring the arms forward. Drop the left leg parallel to the floor. And then bring it back up. And the right leg. Back up. Do it again. Left leg. And then right leg. Bring it back up. Grab the outside edges of your feet. And straighten your legs out. Bring the feet right next to each other. Take them wide. Bring them together. Take them wide. Let go. Keep your legs up. Let go and then lower them down. All the way down to the mat. Wide legs. And then start working your wide leg forward bend. You too. When you're moving here, you're doing a circle or going side to side, notice whether or not you can go as deep to one side as you can to the other. So you may say, yeah, I can, but does one hip or one glute lift up on one side and not on the other? So just notice that. Next week, we'll bring some hammer and nails. All right, tacks.
Super glue.
Super glue, okay. If you've been going in one direction, just switch it. Now, just doing this simple movement, you should have dropped down 2 to 4 inches and gotten that much closer. So Nancy, when you start going forward, instead of doing this, try to stay looking forward about 4, 5, 6 feet so that you're not rounding. It forces you to keep your torso in extension. In other words, working towards.
Straight ahead.
So yeah, you're going to take your gaze more forward, but not like this, where you're cranking your neck. It's more like this, where you lift up your thoracic spine, but not lifting up your lower back, your lumbar, okay? So when you're going in a circle, rather than being like rounded, or you stay in extension. That is going to work your flexibility in your legs. All right, go over to one leg. Reach with both hands and grab that leg or that foot.
I just keep thinking about the pizza coming after class.
Keep thinking about it, it'll manifest, Nancy.
That's what's getting me through the class.
This will be the true test.
I don't eat pepperoni.
All right.
Not kosher.
Okay. The order is placed. So when you're leaning over to whatever side you're leaning towards, reach that opposite hip, the hip farthest away from the direction you're leaning, reach it away from you, away and down. And then slowly come back to center and go to the other side. Reaching both hands to that leg or foot. And come on back up. Take your hands under your knees and lift them. Bring the legs forward, just move them. Shake them, move them. You guys doing all right?
Yep.
Great.
Were you able to get a deep stretch in there?
Yes.
I could put my head to my ankle, knee.
You can do that? Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot farther than you ever used to. You're making progress. Shara, how was that?
It was good. The backs of my knees, the tendons are very short, so
Okay.
problems with that. But
It was hurting me today too, and it never does. The back of my knee underneath.
All right. Was it a sharp sensation?
no, more like a pulling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Be careful with the whole knee joint, with any joint, but knee joint is very vulnerable. And when it comes to stretching, you really want to stretch. There's a lot of muscle under there in addition to ligaments and tendons.
Right.
You know, the muscles become the tendon. So you always, you really want to stretch muscle, not ligaments pretty much at all. And tendons, they're stretchable, but very, very, very little, single digit percentage, little, okay? Whereas,
How do you know a ligament from a tendon and a muscle?
a ligament is going to be fine when you have a straight leg or a bent joint, okay?
Mhm.
So, but if you're torquing it, this can torque it, you know, going this way.
Yeah.
This isn't going to torque it unless you're like this and you put that knee down, then you're going to be stretching / ripping ligaments as well as tendons and muscles, okay? You see what I mean, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But if you go 180 degrees, you're always safe with ligaments, probably always safe with tendons and if you have no injuries there, okay? And certainly with muscles. But if you've ever had an injury in the knee, and some people cannot extend their leg, like even put the knee down and have a straight leg, that's
Right.
something you usually go to PT for. The physical therapist will work you or try to get you to work yourself to at least go to full extension, what's called extension. And of course, if you have had a knee injury, trying to bring your knee closer than this, into here is a real tough thing because this is usually swollen, right?
Right.
Ligaments, you're generally safe with. Shoulder is one of the more vulnerable because it moves. Knee only goes forward and back, extension, flexion. This goes every which way, which is why the shoulder is the most ripped joint, one of the most. Okay. When we stretch, so when we come into this pose, and I always used to teach knee over heel. It's as far forward as you go. I now teach go forward because when we got our hands down, whether it's on the floor or on blocks, there's no pressure in the knee. But by bringing the knee from the heel, above the heel, to above the toes, to forward of the toes, now you're stretching down in here, soleus muscle, which becomes Achilles tendon. And this actually, with a lot of people, gets very tight. And you want to stretch that Achilles tendon because it happens to be a long tendon and is more stretchable than most other tendons.
Okay.
But there's still a lot of muscle even down in this area. Okay.
Right.
You all know what your Achilles. So come into a right foot forward. Lunge. And put your hand, one of your hand, finger and thumb, on your Achilles. You should be able to wrap right around it, right? I mean, not 360, but left and right. Feel how hard that is?
Yeah.
And then squeeze as you move up, and notice how, and then back your knee up so that move your knee back. So
Okay,
it doesn't go the other way. Yeah. And notice how even the tendon becomes less taut, but it's certainly as you move up, that becomes muscle. And that's even more flex or more gooey, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And now you start to move your knee forward and you notice muscle tightens up, tightens up, and the soleus/Achilles tendon tightens up. Because you're bringing that into extension. Even though the knee's bent, it's going into extension. So work your pose, work your lunge pose. People will get will develop knee problems when this guy down here, the soleus muscle, is super tight. So if you cannot easily bring your knee forward of your toes with your heel on the floor, your soleus muscle is tight and your Achilles is tight. So how are you guys doing with that?
Good.
Darlene?
Going good.
Yeah?
I like the stretch.
Yeah, I like this one.
Gets into the hip too.
Yeah, it gets into, well, you actually feel the psoas muscle, but not as a stretch. Now, the benefit of using blocks in this pose is that every time you come forward, your hands are higher and you can back bend more, and you get the opposite leg, the back leg psoas muscle, hip flexor. So each time you come forward, you do reach that front heel down towards the mat. In addition to bringing the knee forward, you're reaching the heel down. So let's switch sides. Hey, Nancy,
Yeah.
we just may accomplish something today,
What?
staying on the floor.
What I asked for the other day.
But it doesn't count unless you're on the floor for a full hour afterwards in Shavasana.
Hey, I have nowhere to go. I'm fine doing it for an hour.
So when I used to live in Chicago in 99, 2000, 98, 99, 2000, I went to a flight school to jump out of airplanes. And the week before, they had set the world record, like a week and a half before. Well, as part of the record to qualify for Guinness, you have to live for 1 week after you land. So if you go to a shopping mall and you get hit by a car and die, there's no world record.
Fair.
That's why I said you have to do Shavasana for an hour afterwards. I have my own inner humorous stories. And if I don't tell the related story, I have no idea why I said what I said.
Did you jump out of the airplane?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I would love to do that.
It was fun, but I do remember my very first thought. As soon as I left the plane,
I'm gonna die.
so the very first thought, and now you've dropped about 100 feet at this point. Like it's just 2 seconds and you're down. I thought, I cannot turn around. I cannot undo this. But it was awesome. We spun to the left, we spun to the right. We did the Macarena, right?
But you didn't break the world record.
No, we weren't part of that group. Those were real skydivers. All right, step that back. Come into table pose. In your table pose, keep your hips over your knees and start to walk your hands forward and bring your forehead right down. Keep your elbows lifted. Forehead right down to the mat if you can. And then walk your hands in. Sit back on your heels. Torso vertical. Walk your hands back. Get a little thigh stretch here. And then come on back up. Come onto your back, lay down. Come into your Shavasana. Move your head from side to side. Move your fingers and wiggle your toes. Bending your elbows, freeing your hands and wrists. Then drawing in one knee, then the other. Freeing up your feet and your ankles. And then roll to your right side. Come on up to a seated pose. Bring your hands to your hearts. Let a smile come to your lips. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks for joining in.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good to see you, Shara.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Ready?
Bye, Nancy.
Have a good one.
You too.